What's up, good you guys? Jay here, your accountability coach and ghetto psychologist, and it is my life's purpose to help Black people navigate this patriarchal system of white supremacy. I'm sorry, I got a video I want to play for y'all real quick. I don't think I can do it on the computer, so hopefully I can do it on my camera. And I'm going to play this video, comment on it, and then we're going to get into talking about my book. All of this is all relevant because I'm talking about these things.
10-year-old, very intelligent looking young lady, a black young lady who will not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in her classroom. She doesn't want to stand up because apparently she believes that black Americans need a lot more to be done in this country. You know what I believe, Cornell? And I know you supported her publicly. I think at 10 years old, she has no real understanding of what America is. So I wonder if her parents had sat her down and explained.
He'd be mad if he talked to my daughter.
White, black, red, it doesn't make any difference. They stood and they fought and they died for this country, and she doesn't want to do anything to honor them.
And she comes from a family of military service members. Her father's a
As do I.
retired military service member also who served this nation well with great dignity.
Good.
Her mother's a very intelligent woman. What white people need to understand.
Just white people.
Yes, please. Let me explain. That national anthem was written by Francis Scott Key, a slave owner, who demonized and hated black slaves and black people. Go research the third verse where he says, "There's no refuge in this country for the harlot or the slave. Both should be turmoil to the grave."
Your parents
This
do it.
is a man
Successful.
that promised turmoil for black people to slave. Would you ask Jewish
parents
children
are
to pledge
successful.
to a German anthem that disrespects Jewish people?
If they're
No, you
living
could
in
not.
Germany,
No, you could not.
Sure.
That disrespects Jewish people?
Then
No,
why?
you could not.
You certainly can kneel down. In America, you have the right to do
He
that.
keep moving the goal pace. So watch this.
I've been on the bus. Vindicated her. America demonized Harriet Tubman for freeing slaves from slavery, but history vindicated her. So I say to that young girl, you stand strong, stand up, and stand for what you believe in. And to all of those who are too coward to do it, don't get in that young girl's way. Others like her. Support that young girl.
What would you like her to say? Men and women who fought for this country like I ran into over the weekend. The black men and women who fought for this country, and some gave their lives.
Ask the black men and women who served America in its military, like in the Independence War. We helped America get it, and we were still slaves after. Ask those in Vietnam who gave their war to Vietnam battlefields, but then came back and was niggas in their own country. We have fought in America's war, and we've never been given the justice and the due process of everybody else in this nation.
So why don't you move to a different country?
Goalpost.
Stay here.
White folks stole it from them, raped and robbed their people. This not your country. You all came over here and stole it and beat the hell out of them. So this not your country.
It's my country.
You all need to go home.
If you're
You need to go back where you came
if
from.
you don't like it, why don't you stand up and go?
Let the Indians decide who should pack up and go. And I guarantee you, black folks will stay, and you all will be on the first damn boat leaving here. So don't try to.
Why don't you?
You crackers, stay trying that. I think I'm even made this in the content. It's y'all, everybody. I'm saying everybody read from the same book when it comes to social issues and their excuse of them. It's always, oh, glamorizing how slavery was not this bad thing. And when you can't do that, they move the goalposts. Oh, well, what about the black people who fought for this country, who are American citizens? And then we tell you, oh, they don't give a fuck neither, because they'll tell you in a minute how mistreated they've been. You move the goalpost again, and then the last goalpost that you move is, why don't y'all just leave? Again, I'm gonna tell y'all what be so rich about it. It be rich for a group of people who ran away from their own motherfucking country in Europe, because they couldn't abide by the rules, because they didn't want to pay taxes, because they wanted basically freedom of a religion. Y'all brought y'all motherfucking asses over here and brought us with you without consent. Y'all stole us, kidnapped us from our own shit. We was minding our motherfucking business, and y'all come and kidnap us, our ancestors rather, okay? And then you come and you bring your ass over here because you knew you could not survive. Let me tell y'all something. When they established Virginia, which I believe was the first state in the U.S. colony to establish, Jamestown was named after King James, who created the Bible. Okay, he didn't create the Bible, but he created this version of the Bible. Okay, his name is on it. Anyway, those motherfucking crackers in Virginia could not survive without black people. They couldn't survive. They had to get black people to come and teach them how to fucking survive. We've been teaching y'all how to survive everywhere y'all go. I have 13 days. I'm probably, by the time I post this, I'm probably gonna be in the middle of the 13. Well, actually, by the time I post this, I'm gonna be on day 12 because I'm posting this on February 12th. I'm recording this on the 30th of January. So I got 13 days. By now, you should be on your 12th day. If you're looking at this, the day that it was released, of random facts. And in those random facts, I tell y'all how black people have literally been saving white people's ass, especially black American people. Everything that we have known that is a huge contribution to human progress, black people. Not white people. White people are the ones who set us back. So, speaking of how they set us back, today we talking about my book, baby. My book officially tomorrow is going to be the pre-order. Again, when you see this, if it's February 12th tomorrow, February 13th, you can pre-order this. And as soon as you pre-order, you're going to get a digital copy of half of this book up front in your email. So you can just go ahead and read it before everybody else get it. You can know what's in this book before anybody else gets it. So I want to talk about this. I'm going to talk about my favorite chapters in this book. In the prior video, I broke down every chapter, excuse me, the explanation of every chapter. But now I'm going to focus on my favorite chapters and read a few excerpts from those chapters. Let me make sure. Oh my God, I'm not prepared for this because I was supposed to go back through and highlight the other chapters. But you want to know something? That's okay because I know how to work on the fly. And I got some notes here. So let's see. Maybe I need to restart. No. We ain't restart. Religion, gender, and romantic standards. Those are my three favorite chapters. So I'm going to do a quick breakdown of each chapter before I get into reading the book, reading the excerpts. I have created content on content about this book. So before I get into that, I want to say, for the people who maybe it's your first time seeing this video, maybe it's your first time hearing about me. Again, my name is Jay Lovelii. It is my life's purpose to help Black people navigate this patriarchal system of white supremacy. I am a quote unquote ghetto psychologist and an accountability life coach. Okay, I'm certified in life coaching. I have a master's degree. And soon will be a specialist degree in psychology. Okay, I'm going to be practicing very soon, not as a therapist, but practicing psychology. I'm not going to go into what field because a lot of times y'all like to dox a motherfucker who stand up for something. So I ain't telling y'all shit about what I do on my 9 to 5. However, over the last year, maybe year and a half, I have transitioned into this more activist role. I've been a coach for since 2020. I've been a coach since over 6 years now. Um, right now though, especially within the last year or two, I've been feeling the need. It's like this burning desire to help my Black people even more than I have been. And I've always dedicated my life to Black people. I knew no matter what I served, it was gonna be Black. Period. Especially Black women, regardless. I know Black men don't like to be in the self-help field. Y'all don't like to do self-help. Y'all barely like to do activist work. 2/3 of the Black Parenting Party was Black women. So I'm not expecting Black men to be on my bumper about nothing. Now they was on my bumper when I was doing sex work. Anyway, yes, and I did used to do sex work. So if that turns you off, then you can go ahead and click off. I just lay it out on the table. I want the people who really gonna be here for me to be here for me. So, Thorn to the Eye. I wrote this I began writing this in March of 2025. Y'all, I don't know if y'all know people who finish a book this fast. I am floored by how fast I finished this book. I've never. It took me 4 years to finish a novel. This book, I finished this book in the quickest time frame I think a person can finish a book of this kind. I didn't write this book. I know you probably like, what the fuck is you talking about? I didn't write this book. God did. I'm gonna tell y'all why, and I'm reiterating. I keep saying this because again, this is for the new people. Every time I've read this book several times over, not only to edit, but just to read it, just to make sure I'm talking about what I need to talk about, that it hits, that it lands, and that I just don't sound stupid. So when I read this book, each time I haven't started reading it for a while. I'm probably gonna read it again one more time. But each time I read this book, I don't feel like I wrote it. Writing this book was an out of body experience because I don't remember going through finding all of the sources. I remember how it came together, but I don't remember being in the process of creating it, if that makes sense. Not until the very end. Like I'm conscious about it now that it's done. But before I was done, because I finished in October, I don't remember. So again, we talking about I wrote this in 7 months. I wrote this book in 7 months. Every day I was writing in this book. Every day I was researching. Every day, every day, and it is over 88 references in this book. I have to just take a pause sometimes because it's really this is not my first book. Like I said, it's not my first book. But this is my first self-help book. This is my first full book under my name, Jay Lovelii. All my other, like my novel, is under my real name, Jasmine Hall. This book is, I'm so connected to this book. I am so protective of this book. I don't want everybody to read it. I want enough people to read it. I want the people who need it to read it. But I don't, this book is not for everybody. Even though I'm releasing it to the wild, I'm releasing it to the world, I'm releasing it for consumption, I'm releasing it for criticism, it's still not for everybody. And I don't expect everybody to like this book. I know that this book is going to be challenging, especially in some parts. If you are a conscious person, you're likely going to agree with most of everything in this book. If you are on the cusp, you're like on the edge of being a conscious person, this shit is going to kind of break some of your paradigms. And just even if you don't completely step into a new belief system, it's going to challenge your current one. Because I am literally going through society with a fine tooth comb, going back to ancient history, back to when before Africa was colonized, especially before it was colonized by the Europeans. Then I get into how the Europeans took over and how their takeover infiltrated religion, relationships, self-love, self-care, how it influenced parenting, how it influenced education, how it influenced healthcare. So we get into all of that. So my three favorite chapters, like I said before, is my chapter. Oh wait, let me get into all the chapters and then I'll tell you my three favorites. So all the chapters. So there is 15 no 14, I'm sorry, 14 chapters, not including the preface, the acknowledgments about author, and the postface, right? So from chapter one, we have unplugged from fake self empowerment and self awareness, unplugged from fake white superiority, unplugged from religion, unplugged from negative gender ideals, unplugged from sexual repression and suppression, unplugged from unrealistic romantic standards and expectation, unplugged from unhealthy parenting, unplugged from the American political system, unplugged from racial construct, unplugged from social economic status, unplugged from the education system, unplugged from healthcare disparities, unplug from judgmental mindsets. And then the final chapter is just final thoughts and some solutions. So my three favorite chapters of this book is the chapter on religion, gender ideals, and romantic standards. So I want to read an excerpt from each one of these chapters. I'm going to try to find my favorite parts of it. I am kind of upset that I did not get a chance to highlight it. And that's what I forgot to do. But that's okay. I'm going to find it. Uh, 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 uh. Okay, let's start here. This is from, well, I'm just gonna give you this. This ain't even one of the chapters that I'm supposed to read. What am I thinking about? But I'm gonna read this anyway because I think this is important. This is from the first chapter. Some people's stories end, quote unquote, with their trauma. They never get past it because they struggle to take accountability and see things realistically. As a result, they stay mentally and sometimes physically stuck in the period that it happened. They relive the same trauma repeatedly in different ways. Their mindset becomes locked in on being a victim, so they never escape situations that rob them of peace. Their thought pattern has created a cycle they struggle to grow past. So I get into mindset, right? This is a mindset. The first chapter, I want to get into self love, mindset, all of that stuff. You know, all of that is goes hand in hand with each other. But let's get into the real to the religion because that's the one that I want to read for y'all first. Okay. So in the beginning of my chapter on religion, I do have a disclaimer. I have a list of disclaimers in the the preface um that is very important for you guys to read. Don't ever skip author about the author, the acknowledgement, or the preface. I keep saying preface. It's preface. I'm sorry, y'all. My brain just sees it and say it how it sounds instead of what it really is. All right. So this chapter on religion is very, very touchy because I know how black people are, and I even start chapter saying, "Hey, I know how much black people love God, cause I do too. I get it. I get it. But we gotta learn how to dismantle the system from top to bottom. Okay." Religion is a system and it is worldly. Religion is not God. It is selling God. We got to start there because a lot of people feel like when you start attacking religion, you're attacking God. Just like y'all was people so mad about Drewski making fun of the pastors in these churches and saying, "Oh, he's mocking God." No, he's not. He ain't saying nothing about God. He ain't even did nothing that God be doing. Like, how is he mocking God? He mocking y'all niggas. And that is the problem. Again, I'm going to say what I just said in this last line. Religion is, what is it? Not God. It is selling God. Okay. It was made for man and not for God. Okay. Most are confusing man word for gods through religion. This is why it's so hard for many black people to free themselves. Okay. So that's one portion that I want to read. And then we're gonna go on. And it's empowerment, right? Because I don't want people to think that this book is just about me complaining. No, I'm gonna paint a real story about how we are, and how we were, and why we need to change. So, black people have always been spiritual and religious. Thebes, a historically known ancient civilization, was black, though you may have been taught differently. Thebes was known as the mother of cities and was considered one of the primary centers of religion in Africa. In the time that Thebes was in its glory, each city was under the patronage of a god, guided goddess, or deity. So I want you to know your ancestors from ancient history before the motherfucker colonized America were likely to be pagan. You were likely meant to be pagan. That means you were likely meant to believe in multiple gods. See, I'm one of those people that I think that there's only one God, but God shows up in different faces, and God shows up in the form that we need the most at that time. That's my belief. I don't think anybody's wrong because it's all basically the same fucking thing, right? But anyway, let's go on to Africans would build temples, statues, and pyramids to reflect their belief in life after death. They knew the buildings they built had the capacity to live on long after they were gone. They wanted to be able to tell their stories and, in a sense, share their religion. Okay, and now I'm skipping around. Their drive for bigness was to serve the structures as an offering to God. Their ambition to construct large, grand, and durable structures simultaneously drove significant advancements in both mathematics and architecture. They were able to create beautiful art. To this day, Europeans and Asians have stolen many artifacts of that time to claim as their own history. hmm Okay, let's see what else I want to read. Ancient Africans were hungry for education and knowledge. The basis of religion for them simply was to learn everything they can to get as close to God as possible. Their advancements, much of what we use today, were created because they wanted to impress the God. So I want y'all to know this is the main thing I want you guys to pick up from this chapter. We always love God. We always have been spiritual people. We've always been connected to source. We've always been connected to collective consciousness. We've always been connected to nature until the old phase came and they took that from everybody. Well, I can't even, what? I can't 100% blame it on the old phase because the Arabs came first. But the Arabs essentially um didn't do as much harm. They did do harm, but they didn't do as much harm as the Europeans. So this is why the emphasis will never be so much so on them. But you gotta understand there's a relation there. Okay. So I talk about astrology a little bit. I'm not gonna talk about what I said about astrology again. Get the book. Um I talk about free will, okay? And then I get into this. Knowledge of self in the deepest form is knowledge of God. I'm going to say that one more time. Knowledge of self in the deepest form is knowledge of God. It's only when you understand who God made you to be that you understand who God really is in a personal sense. To be close with God is to be close with their creations. All of it is linked. There's no way you can love God but hate anything that God created. You can't hate the sun because God created. You can't hate me because God created me. You can't hate trees because God created trees. You can be like, oh my God, thing. You can dislike things. You know what I'm saying? You can not have an understanding. But even me, I don't like frogs. I don't like bugs. But I'll watch a documentary about them because God made these creatures for a reason. They are not here just to be here. They are here with reason. God created everything with purpose and on purpose. So I don't hate anything that God created. Not even white people. I don't hate you motherfuckers. I hate your ways though, for real. And I don't like y'all and I want y'all to stay away from me. But I don't hate anything in creation. I don't hate my life. I don't hate what happened to me. And I get into that too. You can't hate the things that happen to you. You can't hate anything related to existence because all it does is attract more things that you hate. Okay? All right. All of it is linked. Now, everything, I'm reading again, if everything evil does is to keep us from unification within and with other humans because it keeps us from God. It is harmony within humanity that raises the vibration of the planet to a utopian state, ultimately bringing us closer to source and paradise. Instead, they want us to stay plugged in to the package of God they sell to you and keep you immersed into the physical world. So they want to keep you locked into this earthly realm and to have all of these worldly um mindsets, these worldly conditions, all of these divisive conversations, you getting upset with me because I was born black. I ain't had no control over that. You getting so upset with me because I'm a woman. I ain't had no control over that. You know what I'm saying? All the things that separate us, we use them as an excuse to commit evil and as a worldly thing because at the end of the day, we are all spirits having a human experience. We're all souls. We all supposedly came from the same source. So You can't be like that, right? You can't be stuck into the world. You can't be worldly. You have to understand the spiritual aspect of everything. Yes, the physical is a real place. This is real. These conditions are real as we are projecting them to be. However, there's a huge world outside of this. There's a huge purpose for you outside of this body you inhabit. Again, I like to always say that you being inside your body for 70, 80, maybe longer if you're lucky, years is a small blip in the whole scheme of existence. All right. So the result is they get to capitalize from our suffering. I'm reading again. And shame. It is a trick. Separation and despair are the goals, and religion is the best way to do it. Religion makes us look down on mankind and praise God when we are all a part of God. You are a part of the Creator. So many religions support this, from Christianity to Hinduism. God is within you. So I say this all the time. What I don't like about religion, I go on to kind of talk about that, is how we make God so separate from ourselves. But there's so much conflicting information out there where it's like, okay, kingdom of heaven is within us, God is within us, the dweller of all dwellers is in us, the controller is in us. I'm quoting different religious texts right now. Everybody knows that literally the spiritual essence of our creator is within us. Okay, it's almost irrefutable if every religion is saying it. But then y'all turn around and you try to act like God is not a part of who you are. You act like it's a instead of it being an extension of yourself, it's something that is outside of you. So I don't like that. It's a contradictory approach to how we look at what God is. And in my mind, God really is just existence in itself. People want there to be this explanation of what God is, who God is, and it's like, what makes you think you can come to terms and understand what God is? It's not that simple. It's not meant for you to understand. You're not meant to understand the universe. You're not meant to understand all these things outside of you. That's humans' problem. Our ego wants us to understand and make sense of all these things, but we have to be at peace with the fact that we might not ever know until we die. I always say, that's one of my favorite jokes. We'll find out when we die. It might be dark to a lot of people, but it's true. Here, you're gonna find out when you die. So don't stress yourself right now. So I'm not gonna read too much more, but I'm gonna read this, and this is it. The gift we were given to connect to God is through our conscious and subconscious mind. The mind is the meeting place between your soul and body, and both exist on its own plane. Your soul is naturally connected to the CC, that's short for collective conscious, along with your mind, allowing you to connect at any time within the physical realm through creativity, meditation, and one way you won't believe, sex. Don't worry, this will be discussed further. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next one because I don't want to keep y'all too long on this explanation. All right, my next favorite chapter is the next chapter after this, which is unplugged from the negative gender ideals. Okay. This one is actually um the sample chapter for free. So if you guys want to read this chapter, this entire chapter, it is available. By the time you see this, you can go ahead and sign up for it. It will be delivered to you tomorrow if it's not already the 13th. I've already kind of read excerpts from this chapter, but I will focus on one portion, which is probably going to be one of the most controversial portions. Matter of fact, I'm gonna find another one too because I know it's plenty of controversy in this chapter. There's plenty of controversy in this book. But anyway, so I'm gonna say no one looks at Eve as a victim or even wonders where Adam was when she ate from the tree. Wasn't it his job to lead and protect? Or is that why women are supposed to be led now? Why is it that no one thinks he failed as a man? There has been an attack on women by men, just like there has been an attack on black people by white people, starting with how you perceive the first story of humanity. So I talk about Adam and Eve. So I don't even want to break down what I just said. We should already understand that. Okay, so God does not care about any of the things that we care about. I say this, God don't. The worldly concepts discussed in this book, such as race, gender, body type, or money, does not matter to our creator, which is why it really shouldn't matter to us. Labels are worldly because in the afterlife, it is all left behind in this world. Whatever you think you are right now, a mother, a daughter, whatever you do for work, when you die, it's gone. Your memory lives on, but you don't take none of this shit with you. What you take is the experience. What's most important for you to be remembered by is the impact that you have on the world, and the impact is how you make people feel. Not even necessarily what you do for them, how you make them feel. It's gonna be people. It's people who I'll probably never see again, but I remember how they made me feel, good and bad. And you got to realize how impactful your presence is. I mean, I don't think I talk about it in this book, but I talk about it in my content in general, where I say your presence really is a present because most of us undermine how important we are. We don't understand how we are helping to drive this machine in positive and negative ways. And this book highlights both the positive, but mostly the negative ways in which we are driving this machine. So it's important that we understand from a subconscious level how we're contributing to our own downfall. Okay. So getting back into the reading. Let's see. I get into the, like I said, negative gender ideals. So another person's gender has no real effect on anyone but said person. It is not a scientific argument because science describes gender as previously said, which is a social construct. However, it is a religious argument disguised as moral discourse. The main reason any of us believe any queerness is bad is because of religion. Y'all can't change my mind about that. Why do you think queerness is bad? It's nothing but religion. And outside of the religion, it was racism. Outside of the racism, it was just white people being uncomfortable seeing black people do something that they probably thought that only they did. I'm making a joke because I'm not sure. I'm not really serious about that statement, but it's just funny because you'll see white people praise the promiscuity of the Greeks and how homosexuals they was, but when it comes to the black man being homosexual, it's a unnatural damnation. All these gay white men who just frolic all over the motherfucking place freely, and as soon as a black man do it, it's a problem. Clock it. All right, gender. Now I'm gonna read this, and then I'm gonna leave it alone because it's interesting how I wrote this. Gender identity and sexual orientation is another concept many confuse as the same when they are not. The feeble-mindedness of humanity leads us to associate our sexual parts to sexual orientation. Because gender is sexualized, no matter what you identify as, it will always be associated to what you should like. If someone has a vagina, they should like a penis, and vice versa. When someone deviates by being gay, trans, or non binary, it causes confusion, something humans hate. That hate turns into fear, and fear creates irrationality. When someone identifies as a sex they weren't born as, it seems to cost 97 to 98% of people to try to rationalize what they don't understand. However, instead of doing the work and becoming educated about this group of people, they'd rather call it wrong. It's easier. Conversely, if a trans person likes the same gender, essentially making them straight biologically, it is even more confusing to the 97 to 98%. Ironic, isn't it? It goes against another imposed logic of the 97 to 98%. It poses the question, Why would a woman transition into a man just to continue dating men or vice versa? If you heard someone say this or thought so yourself, understand that gender identity and sexual orientation have nothing to do with the other. Gender has nothing to do with who we are attracted to. Go read this chapter sample. Just go read the rest. Lastly, my last favorite, romantic standards. Oh, so romantic standards basically is a kind of extension of the gender ideals. And the reason I kind of made it into an extension is because the whole breakdown between man and woman is because we're man and woman. So the gender issue and why we can't even have romantic relationships and they be harmonious is because we are literal ops to each other. Really, more so is feel like the men are our ops because women ain't really doing shit. But I digress from that conversation part of the conversation, and we're going to get into. I'm just going to read the top. Marriage is an over glamorized sham, and romantic relationships are not as important as we emphasize. Yes, I believe in the true sanctity of marriage, but I also believe most of us don't know how to be happily married. First, like damn near everything else, marriage was conceptualized for money. Even in ancient Mesopotamia, marriage was mostly arranged to solidify alliances of estates, expand labor forces, and or continue a lineage. There was little expectation of coupling for common people like it was for higher class people. I tell y'all all the time, marriage is a business move. Marriage was not this fairy tale. Okay? It was not the princess coming to save the princess. I'm reading again, and they fall in love. It was brother and sister or uncle and niece being wed. Marrying stayed within the family to keep bloodlines and property for thousands of years. Incest was normalized for this reason. Gross, right? Marriage was solely meant for the wealthy. Okay, it was just a business move. Okay, so we move on to some even more daunting. So I go on to kind of explain more. Humanity's introduction to marriage in the Bible was one of contention, and it initiated the conflict between man and woman. The most important part of the Bible, I'm sorry, the most important part of the book of Genesis was the story of Adam and Eve. Through this story, we get a first look at the breakdown between humans, the division of man and woman. After Eve convinced Adam to eat from the forbidden tree, the Bible says that God stated woman and man would have enmity between each other. Go look up enmity. ENMITY if you need help. Okay. And then I go on to say marriage was given to our ancestors while enslaved as a semblance of hope. It was also leveraged by slave masters as it showed their so-called benevolence and Christian values. Truthfully, white people didn't honor the marriages of our ancestors, and many were performed in secret, but they also didn't mind it. If it could produce more slaves for the master and for free, why not? Similarly, they could use spouses to keep slaves in check, threatening separation at any moment. Okay. Black enslaved people perfected the mindset of marrying solely for love because white people were rarely doing so. And white people were rarely doing so. Love was literally all our ancestors had. Though this is not a terrible thing, we still have the same mindset of marrying only for love in current times, but love alone is not enough to keep a marriage together. It took us longer to get the memo. Black people's idea of marriage should have adjusted along with our adaptation to freedom. I'm gonna leave it at that. Again, those were excerpts from my three favorite chapters. I'm not gonna do too much more reading. What I'm gonna do though on the day of this official launch, which is March 20th, I am gonna go live and I'm gonna read the whole chapter 4. I'm reading the whole chapter 4. I'm reading the whole chapter 4. I'm gonna read the whole chapter 4. We're gonna have a read along. So make sure y'all go and grab y'all sample. And if you don't want to read on your own and you want to just hear my voice read the story to you and I break down my explanations behind things, we can do that. But that's again March 20th. That is when I'm going to do that. The official day of release is when I'm going to have that book reading for the chapter, not a day sooner. Okay? Because reading that whole chapter, baby, it's going to be so tiring. It's going to be so tiring. I'm gonna be on live for a while. I'm gonna be live on all my social. I'm gonna try to make sure I'm live on YouTube, Facebook land, Instagram land, and of course the TikTok. So if you're not following me on anything, make sure you subscribe here and go ahead and follow me all on those other places. All the links are going to be in the description box below. If you really sat through and listened to me read and listen to my rant and explanation, you a fucking real one. I love you. Drop a comment if you love me back. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Hopefully, again, go ahead and grab your pre-order copy of Storing to the Eye, a Black Person's Guide to Unplugging from the System. If you like what you heard so far and you want more, it tasted good, but it wasn't enough. Go ahead and get a pre-order so you can go ahead and read half of the book up front today. Well, tomorrow. By the time you see this. Hopefully. If you don't see it on the 12th, then today. Yeah. See y'all.